Yo, what's going on, fellas? It's your guy Six Paths Dunga back with another video. I'm not gonna lie, there's been a lot of things to discuss, been a little backed up on my work, but as we approach chapter 15, I'm gonna try my best to get back on track. But I assure you, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. But before chapter 15 drops, I want to talk a little bit about what's to come in the future of TBV VORTEX, more specifically, a certain battle me and a lot of my peers are anticipating, and just kind of analyzing it. So before we get into it, let me just take a quick second to ask all my loyal supporters to drop a quick like on the video. Y'all know how much it helps me and the channel, so every like is appreciated, of course. Alright, now let's discuss what's soon to be one of the biggest and most iconic fights in the Naruto / Boruto franchise, and obviously I'm talking about Boruto versus Jura. Now, if you've been keeping up with the videos, especially after the release of chapter 14, you would know how I feel about the Shinju finally expanding to other hidden villages and becoming more of a national threat, kinda similar to the Akatsuki in a way. So just to summarize, if the Shinju are able to keep expanding in numbers, eventually they'll have an army of Shinju that are close to or around 400 in total. And I didn't even mention the clawgrams that can be summoned by pretty much any one of them. So if you think about it, the Shinju alone are enough to start another great ninja war, but with the clawgrams there as well, I think we're starting to gravitate into the overkill conversations. So the main problem here is the military power that each village currently possesses. None of them are weak by any normal means, but you take into account of how strong one of the Shinju are, you can for sure say one of them could solo an entire village if necessary. I don't think that's crazy to say at all, since it's widely known that Matsuri, the Moegi clone, paid a visit to Sunagakure and took out the strongest shinobi, and seemingly without any struggle whatsoever. And to really make matters even worse, they can be healed or revived in the blink of an eye if they are defeated. I just don't see any other solution in this case than the 5 great nations working together again to rid the world of the Shinju. The Shinju were introduced into the story 10 chapters ago, and from day 1, they should have been treated as a threat worse than Obito and Madara Uchiha, the ones who literally started the 4th Great Ninja War, but it's too late, so now it's gonna be even harder to deal with them. So tell me, based off this information, would you say another war could be in the works soon? And if you think war could be coming, do you think the shinobi even have a chance? Like, let's just be 100% honest here. Like, how would they even win a war like that? I mean, it's already been revealed to us as to how the war would go and what the win conditions would be if there was a war anyway. So let's just analyze it real quick. When Boruto was explaining the situation during his interrogation, he mentioned how Jura was basically the incarnation of the Ten Tails. He's not a prototype of anyone like Hidari or the newest Shinju clone Ryu, which means naturally he's the root of the problem. You destroy him, then the threat of the planet's destruction would stop. So that right there would be the win condition of the war, just defeat Jura. But I can't express enough that it'll be damn difficult to do that. For one, it's not like it'll be a war against just Jura alone. The other Shinju who I just explained can solo nations will be there to give him support. And then there's literally not a single person alive who can possibly hope to match Jura in power, except Boruto, and maybe Momoshiki. Of course with Boruto's new abilities. I'm gonna try and refrain from talking too much about Momoshiki, especially because we just haven't seen him yet. But we know he's still a serious threat in the story, and he'll be a big presence in a battle against Jura. At the current point in the story, you can argue Jura is at least on the same level, probably even a little stronger than Boruto. Just going off statements alone, I'm not taking any of Jura's feats into account when I say that because they're just not that impressive. Well, to be clear, they are impressive, but they're not that impressive when talking about how he would do in a fight against Boruto. He beat Team 10, big deal. He beat Himawari that just awakened to her new powers. Big deal. He also demolished KAWAKI. As you can guess, big deal. I mean, it's literally KAWAKI, but that's really it. And I'm pretty sure Jura is much stronger than what he's shown so far, so don't get mad at me. Don't go getting your panties in a twist. I'm not saying Jura is weak. he just needs to fight a worthy adversary to bring that potential out of him. And Boruto would be that person, no doubt. Now, we know Jura versus Boruto could probably go either way based on the context because of KASHIN KOJI. If Jura is supposed to be the one to kill Boruto, then it could mean a couple of things. I think either Boruto already overcame this foresight when Jura was summoned back to their little Shinju dimension in chapter 13. If that's the case, then the timeline was altered into a separate alternate course again. What could be another possibility is Boruto could have fought Jura during this war and die against him there. So it's just based off the fact on whether you believe what KASHIN KOJI meant when he said Jura would be the one to kill Boruto. When was Boruto supposed to die? Since we didn't see the vision that he saw, we literally don't know when that could happen. He could have already saved himself from that fate, or that event could have yet to come. But there are signs that chapter 13 was supposed to be when Boruto was supposed to die. And when you think about it and apply it to every other scenario that Boruto was supposedly supposed to die in, it does make sense. He was out here just dodging death left and right. I mean, it has to mean something at this point, right? So right here where it says Boruto was lucky, so lucky in fact that Jura would call it divine intervention, it's as if the heavens are decreeing that you stay alive. I mean, you can just say because of unexplainable influences, it changed the direction of the timeline to keep Boruto alive. But because of these changes, it shouldn't change whether Boruto should eventually die by Jura's hand. It'll just delay it to a later time. I mean, if he's truly stronger than Boruto, it shouldn't be no problem just to kill him again, or try to kill him again. I think there are certain scenarios that can happen to increase the likelihood of Boruto's survival, like maybe Boruto being able to use his karma without losing control, or maybe him unlocking his Jogan first before he battles Jura, or even a Momoshiki takeover could help. It can also help if Jura is somehow weakened. All these factors can play a role into how this battle could go. Me personally, I believe just based off the fact that Boruto can defy all these odds and single-handedly fight against fate, which he did multiple times already, I don't think Jura will kill Boruto. Now actually, I don't think, I know he won't kill Boruto. Quite the opposite actually. While I do think Boruto might need assistance fighting the Shinju, it won't be in the way that you think. It'll be in a way to make the fight fair. When fighting the Shinju, and especially someone as strong as Jura, it's so very important to find a way to kill them for good, and don't let them regenerate. We've seen from chapter 12, the perfect person to have in a battle against the Shinju is KAWAKI, unfortunately. Sukuna Hikona's ability to shrink the claw marks to a point where they can't be used is the quickest way to shift the fight in the direction of Konoha, or whoever is fighting. The odds of Boruto actually landing a full power Uzuhiko onto Jura isn't very high. For one, he would have to stay planted on the ground for it to work properly. The only reason why it worked on Hidari was because he couldn't fly. But against enemies like Jura, or even KAWAKI sooner or later, it'll prove damn near impossible for him to land that technique. So yeah, even though if he can land the Uzuhiko onto Jura, because as Boruto stated, there isn't a limit to the power of the Uzuhiko. So if it lands, yeah, Jura is definitely finished. Like, there's no question about that. But the only problem is, it'll just be easy for Jura to avoid that technique as a whole. I mean, let's just be honest. He's just gonna fly into the air and fire Biju bombs at Boruto or something. So, you know what that means? Yeah, you guessed it, my friend. Boruto would have to fight and find a way to defeat Jura without the Uzuhiko, which honestly shouldn't be a problem, because Boruto has a bunch of other techniques like the flying Raijin to help him in the fight too. His regular Rasengan could do a ton of damage as well. So I still think Boruto can win. I just think because of him not being able to use the Uzuhiko, he would need someone like KAWAKI to just help him keep Jura in sight by taking away his claw mark abilities. I mean, he would probably need help anyway if he was planning to fire off an Uzuhiko at full power, just because it would take a while, and he would need a lot of time to charge it up. But against Jura, it probably wouldn't go the same way if he was fighting against someone like Hidari. Uzuhiko is just not a good idea no matter how you slice it. It just wouldn't work. I don't think Boruto actually can beat Jura the way he is right now, just because Jura just has too many cheats and hacks he can implement. But with a special team to make the fight fair, he can. I also think he'll need the power of the Jogan too. I know this is something I literally talk about too much, but if the Jogan has something to do with why he's always been avoiding bad fates, or maybe it's linked to this divine intervention that Jura's been talking about, then I think if Boruto wishes to control this power, Shinjutsu, whatever you want to call it, he needs the power of the Jogan. The good part for us fans is the fact that we know this would need to happen very soon. If the difference between the 10 tails in Boruto and the one shown in Shippuden is the one in Boruto is only juvenile, that means it would grow stronger as time goes on. The Shinju are already in a constant state of evolution because of the effect that Cold's karma had on them. So if any time it gets to a point to where Jura has evolved, to where he rivals the strength of being considerably stronger than Ishiki, then the chances of the planet's survival would keep dropping drastically. So there's already a sense of urgency that comes with defeating the Shinju. All they gotta do now is come up with a strategy to limit the numbers of them, and possibly find an exploitable weakness or a hard counter to their abilities. But like I said, the only hard counter right now is KAWAKI. He's proven that already. It's just that he's not nearly skilled enough to win in a fight against one of the Shinju alone. So with the help of a select few, Boruto should have what it takes to take on Jura, before or during the war, and possibly defeat him before things turn for the worst. I also think Momoshiki can take over Boruto's body and fight Jura. Will he win? He could. We would just need to see how he implements Boruto's new abilities into his own arsenal. But if you ask me how I feel at this moment, I would say he probably wouldn't be able to beat Jura. And it's only because he would try to do it by himself. And neither Momoshiki nor Boruto can do it by themselves because of reasons I mentioned earlier. They can heal themselves instantly, and they can be revived if destroyed because of the Thorn Soul. Maybe Jura doesn't even have a Thorn Soul because he's not a clone of anyone, but the point still stands. It'll be a damn difficult feat to accomplish alone either way, especially fighting alone. So that's it. The fight between Boruto and Jura is highly expected to be the best fight in Tuba Vortex, a fight that will definitely change the power rankings of characters around, and it'll create a whole bunch of new narratives along with it. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. How would this fight go? Who would win and why? Do you have a different opinion on whether this fight would even happen or not? And who do you want to see fight Jura alongside Boruto? As always, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it in the future, then please drop that like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload or go live for chapter spoilers in a few days. And without further ado, I'll see you boys and girls in my next video. And I'm out. Peace.